So banner grabbing countermeasures, you can disable or change the banner. So you can display false banners to misguide attackers. But if you do this, you could then raise the posture of your vulnerability list because your vulnerability scanner is going to believe what it's told when it goes and looks up the banners. So that could be a problem there. You want to turn off unnecessary services on the network host to limit the information disclosure. So you might reveal that you have a web server running, but you don't want to reveal that you have anything else running. So you want to use server masking to disable or change banner information. So you can go in and alter what banners are displayed via the configuration files. So instead of it just displaying the default banner, you can have it go in and say, I want you to display this, right? So Apache 2 with mod headers module uses a directive in the http.conf file to change the banner information, header set server, new server name. So you can override the default settings like that, for example, in Apache. You can alternatively change the server signature line to server signature off in the http.conf file so it just doesn't display anything. But there's other ways you can look it up, right? You could, if they left files on there like the PHP info page, which will dump out all of the server information and exact versions of the entire stack that you're using. So banner grabbing countermeasures continued. Hiding file extensions from web pages. So how do you hide the file extensions to prevent from revealing what kind of web server you're using? So the file extensions reveal information about the underlying server technology, the stack, that an attacker can utilize to launch attacks. You want to hide file extensions to mask the web technology. You want to change application mappings such as ASP, HTML, .foo, etc., whatever the extension is, to disguise the identity of the servers. Apache servers use mod negotiation directives. IIS users use tools such as Page Exchanger or Page Exchanger to manage the file extensions. So you can kind of tell it what extensions you want to use. You can use that in any type of program. So instead of .php, you can change the extensions to whatever you want. CHE scanning methodology. Now we're going to talk about scanning for vulnerabilities, which goes hand in hand with banner grabbing, right? So vulnerability scanning, there's a lot more to vulnerability scanning, by the way, than just grabbing banners, but that's one way to do it. So network vulnerabilities, we can have open ports and running services, we can have application and services configuration errors, we can have application and service vulnerabilities. So that's what comprises vulnerability scanning, and it identifies vulnerabilities and weaknesses of a system and network in order to determine how our system can be exploited. This is just a starting point. Maybe this is the easy way to do it. You find a vulnerability and then you go look up an exploit for that vulnerability. If you can't find any vulnerabilities or exploits for those vulnerabilities that you did identify, then you're dead in the water, right? Well, no, not really. A real penetration tester worth his salt will be able to go and craft some. They'll download the source code, look for other weak things. How else can I attack this system? So there's a lot more ways. That's just the starting point. But that's where it gets expensive because now you're consuming an engineer's time, right? So that's going to take some time, a significant effort of time. There's no excuse. There's so many free vulnerability scanners out there. There's no excuse for having a system that's deployed with known vulnerabilities in it. That's just absurd. Vulnerability scanning tools like Nessus. Nessus is pretty pricey, but it's pretty good. It finds a lot of stuff. So Nessus is the vulnerability scanner and configuration assessment product. So it is a vulnerability and configuration assessment product. It's not the only one. So it's an agentless, it provides agentless auditing, compliance checks, content audits, customized reporting, high-speed vulnerability discovery. It's also a cloud tool. And in-depth assessments, mobile device audits, patch management integration, and scan policy design and execution. And over on the right is an example of what some of the findings look like. So you just add host to it, the cloud appliance, and then it'll go out and find it. So the cloud houses all of the information, and then you can store it in your own premise or off-premise cloud product, and then your on-premise agents will go out and find all the vulnerabilities as they're fired off. So GFI LandGuard, do not use this. It's completely outdated. They've been trying to update it and stay alive, but it's very old and arcane architecture. It's not very good, so I don't recommend you use it. Before the test, just remember that GFI LandGuard is another sandboxing / vulnerability scanner. So GFI has a sandbox as well. Again, it's very outdated. Vulnerability scanning tools, Qualys FreeScan. This is a good one. Qualys has several products that you can use. You can also use their SSL tools to go and identify servers that are still deploying SSL in your network. Remember, we do not use SSL. It is very bad, very insecure. Do not use it. You need to be using TLS. And TLS 1.0 should be turned off as well as soon as you can possibly do it. So the Qualys FreeScan scans computers and apps on the internet and your network and tests websites and apps for OWASP, top risks, and malware. Qualys has a very good scanner. All of their gear is pretty high quality. So network vulnerability scanners, here's a bunch of them. Retina is a common one. OpenVAS, you'll hear about it. Core Impact, another big one. Nexpose, absolute requirement in any penetration tester's toolbox. Nexpose, learn it, live it, love it. You will use it. Shadow Security Scanner. Saint is a pretty popular one. NS Auditor and Security Auditor Research Assistant, Sarah. I've heard about that one, but I've never used it. So just hear stuff about it. It's not great, it's not terrible. Vulnerability scanning tools for mobile. Retina CS for mobile. Security Metrics Mobile Scan and Nessus Vulnerability Scanner.